Innovative research is taking place at the University of Minnesota that could benefit individuals with type 1 diabetes. At the university's Schulze Diabetes Institute, investigators are conducting clinical trials to study the risks and benefits of human islet transplantation. To date, 30 people, or approximately 3% of individuals who have inquired about this research, have proceeded with screening, met the participation criteria, and received an islet transplant at the Diabetes Institute. Of these 30, 25 were able to stop insulin injections after their islet transplant, and an additional person was able to reduce her insulin dose by 75%. The other 4 experienced only a partial and temporary reduction in their insulin requirements. 3 years after an islet transplant at the University of Minnesota, about 70% of individuals maintain their islet graft function and are either insulin-free or inject much less insulin than they required before their transplant. They continue to have much improved blood sugar control and remain protected from insulin reactions. About 50% of those treated are still insulin independent more than 5 years after transplant, some now for more than 8 years. Islet transplantation is experimental. There is no guarantee that an islet transplant will be successful and lead to freedom from insulin use. Even if the transplant is successful, it is still unknown for how long transplanted islets will restore insulin independence. In addition, there are risks from an islet transplant and from the immunosuppressant medications required to prevent rejection of the islets. Let's begin by listening to a few individuals who have experienced positive results from islet cell transplants.
My name is Lauren Zaworski. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm 42 years old. Diabetes was a challenge, but I rolled with it. Like I said, I was 9 years old. About 10 years into having type 1 diabetes, I had noticed a change in my life, and I had no control over my blood sugars, where my blood sugars would go very low, and I would not be aware of it. It very much complicated my life. It was pure chaos. My life was basically stolen because of the fact that I had diabetes. It affected me in a manner that, like I said, my life was basically stolen from me. It cost me my marriage, it cost me my job, it cost me my driver's license, and most of all, it cost me the custody of my children. I would say that I was having probably 30 insulin reactions per month to where I couldn't control what I was doing, and like I said, somebody else would find me out. Out meaning passed out, having seizures. Very, very scary, scary situations. The procedure itself was not difficult whatsoever. It scared me, but I think that's normal in any case. I had had surgery, I believe it was a Saturday morning, and I was home by the following Monday or Tuesday after I had surgery. I've had no complications from the actual transplant itself. It was a change, but at the same token, it was a very positive change. This is so much easier. The transplant is so much easier to manage versus the diabetes. It is just an amazing thing. Oh, I see myself doing everything that I plan in my mind to do. It's given me a self-independence that I can't explain. It's been wonderful. I am an insulin-independent diabetic.
My name is Bruce Kern. I'm 41 years old. I've been married to my wife Donna for 17 years. We have a son, Jacob, who is 11, and a daughter, Emily, who is 2.5. I had about 7 instances where I almost died because of hypoglycemia. One of those instances was I had low blood sugar in my sleep, completely unaware. Fortunately, my wife found me, which made her frantic because she was unable to revive me in any way and to get help. And at that time, my blood sugar had dropped to 24. And is just a really scary situation for everybody. She had to call 911, and the ambulance took me to the hospital, and I didn't become aware until I woke up in the hospital wondering where I was and how I got there. When I first came back from surgery, I was just hoping and praying that it all worked out. Everything was going to be good. And within the first couple of days, I had a blood sugar that got to 75. And I got warning signs back that it was low. At first it was a little difficult because I had some side effects from it, but we worked through it, and once the dosage levels were stabilized to keep the counts where they needed to be, all the side effects went away, and now it's great. I take 4 pills twice a day. I haven't had any complications or anything for probably about 4 years now. I've been on pretty much the same dose of each medication. I guess I consider myself to be cured. And I know it's going to extend my life, and I'm going to get to watch my kids grow. And that means everything to me. I honestly believe if I wouldn't have had the islet transplant, I wouldn't be here today to watch him be in the 5th grade playing basketball.
My name is Stephanie Arneson. I've had diabetes almost all my life. I've known nothing different than the diabetes that I've had. It was under control completely all the way through my adolescence. I did really well with my diabetes. It wasn't a problem. And then all of a sudden, as I got older, in '98, I started having hypoglycemia unawareness. And that's when I knew that instead of me controlling my diabetes, it started to control me. And that really took a drastic change in my life. Then we went to my endocrinologist, and I said, I just can't seem to control my diabetes. We went through all this intensification. I started the pump. I've been on sliding scales and just different regimens that just weren't working for me anymore. Well, after I went and qualified for the transplant, they put me on a transplant list. And I was on it for quite a while, and that was extremely hard, kind of emotional. You wait for the phone call, and then you finally get the phone call. And then there's all this excitement and anxiety, and you get there, and you're there for about 2 days, and they prep you and get you ready before the transplant. And then the day of the transplant, it's just a simple procedure. I would never trade what I have now for diabetes again. When people tell me no, I'm going to say, oh, watch me. Okay, when they say, you know what, Stephanie, you're a diabetic and this is what's going to happen to you. You're not going to have eyes, you're not going to have legs, you're not going to be able to have kids, you're not going to be able to do this. No, watch me. Watch me. If I have to have more than one transplant, then give it to me. I want these islet cells, and I'm going to take care of them, and I'm going to do the best I can do. And if it doesn't cure me, it's going to cure the next person. It's going to take somebody to make that stepping stone. They learn a lot from us. We're so close, but we just you gotta have that energy to say, okay, you know what, I can do this. And I know it's really discouraging because it is. You're overweight, you don't feel good, you're falling down, you're making a fool out of yourself. And then someone says, well, we can't help you, or we can help you, and you don't really know where to start. Pick up a phone. I mean, it's on the internet. I called my endo, and he helped me through it. He gave me the number to the DIT, which is the Diabetic Institute, and they answered my questions. If they can't help me, they'll just tell you, you just got to try. You just can't give up, because if you do, if everybody gives up, this disease is going to win, and I refuse to let it win.
Islet transplants may let people enjoy, again, happy and productive lives, no longer burdened by constant fears and worries of low blood sugar levels and late complications. When successful, transplants truly transform people's lives. For me, it has been a privilege to be allowed to help so many people and their families experience the remarkable benefits of islet transplants.